Hello everyone, I'm your host Pranoti of Under the Microscope, and today we are going to talk about how to get the most out of conferences as a scientist. So, these are the 9 things you need to know or you should do in order to get the most out of the conferences, the scientific conferences you are attending. And yes, this script is mainly created by ChatGPT, so thank you, ChatGPT, but the rest is me as well. So, let's dive right in. So, when I asked ChatGPT how to get the most out of conferences as a scientist, it came up with 9 points or 9 questions, and most of them I agree with, or rather all of them I agree with to a certain degree. So the 9 points are, I will summarize the points first, I would tell you what the points are first, and then we will dive into the details, yeah? Alrighty. So the first one is to plan and prepare. Second one is setting goals. Third one is networking strategically. Fourth is be active on social media. Fifth is ask thoughtful questions. Sixth is take notes and collect materials. Seventh is present your work effectively. Eighth is follow up. And the ninth is reflect and implement. Okay, there's quite a lot in this. So let's dive right in. So let's start with the plan and prepare. Before the conference, review the schedule, keynote speakers, and the sessions to identify the ones that are most relevant for your research interests. Make sure that you have a plan of which sessions, which workshops, or which presentations you want to attend. And this is really important for conferences which have multiple parallel sessions going on. So for that, it's very important to do your homework up front. So right before going to the conference, as soon as you have your hands on the scientific program, set aside 1 hour or 2 hours to go through it depending on the size of the conference, and chalk out the basic plan at least. So you don't have to plan out like every second of every day that you are attending that conference, but definitely recommend planning out, okay, these are the highlights, these are like the must-have activities or sessions I'm going to attend, and these are like the nice-to-have sessions. So just so you have a backup, because of course there would be spontaneously sessions coming up which you are interested in. There might be your friends are dragging you to other sessions, or maybe the sessions are running overtime. So this helps you prioritize. So plan and prepare. This is the first advice that I can give you, so while attending a conference as a scientist. All right, so the second one is to set goals. So define your objectives for the conference. Are you looking to learn about new research trends, establish collaborations, or are you more into presenting your work? So just give it a shot, give it a thought. I mean, I remember during my master's and PhD, I was only allowed to go to conferences where I was presenting my work. But of course, during my master's, when I was when I was attending conferences, my goal was to find a PhD, find lab or find a research group for my PhD later on, because I knew for sure that I want to do a PhD. So that is something that is very important. So if you are a, let's say, early career researcher, or if you know that you're going to stay in science and you're a postdoc or a professor even, then it makes sense to have a combination of research trends and establishing your collaborations, because this is very important in the short and the long term, depending on where you're located and what the funding situation is. So having clear goals is very, very important. What do you want to get out of the conference? Do you want to spend more time at the exhibition where there are a bunch of companies who have their booths? Is that what you want to do? Or are you more into learning about the new research trends? And just FYI, this is like a big conference thing that you definitely need to plan, you definitely need to prepare, you definitely need to set goals. But even for small conferences, it helps massively to identify, okay, these are the keynote speakers I want to speak with, these are the professors I want to speak with, these are the postdocs I want to speak with, because this helps you get the most out of the conference, the scientific conference. Third is network strategically. So the conferences are a great way of great opportunity for you for networking. I mean, the whole idea behind conferences is to network and discuss, get together, and talk about research. So prioritize meeting researchers whose work aligns with yours or the ones you admire. So attend social events, join discussion groups, and engage in conversations with fellow attendees. Be open to building connections and exchanging ideas. It sounds simple, but when you're actually attending a conference, this can be very exhausting. And I know that even with like 2-day conferences, you have to be on from, let's say, 8 in the morning till, I don't know, 10 or 12 in the evening, depending on the social program and the other attendees. So make sure you have some time to relax, of course, after you come back from the conference, because networking strategically is extremely important, even if you want to stay in science or you want to leave science and pursue some other career path that you have in mind. So do network. And something that I've learned is that networking never goes to waste. Some or the other way you can utilize that network or utilize that contact at a later stage. You don't know what you're going to do after 5 years. At least I don't know what I'm going to do after 5 years. So it's very important to network with the right people and people you mostly admire, or depending on your goals, right? All this comes after setting your goals. So if your goal is to go to a company, then network with someone from company. That's what I did. And yes, I did not get the job at the company or at that company, which is fine. But I still established the contact, and my contact is now working at another company, which is also super interesting. So this basically gives you an idea about networking strategically and why it is so important. So the fourth one is be active on social media. So of course, this is depending on the preferences. Like if you are comfortable with being active on social media, do it. If you're not, that's fine as well. So for the ones who are interested in being active on social media, participate in conference related conversations on social media platforms like Twitter, Insta. I don't know which other platforms the conferences are using nowadays, but I think Twitter is still being used quite heavily. Use the conference hashtags. This is very, very important. Share your insights and engage with other attendees. This can enhance your visibility and expand your professional network beyond the physical conference space. And even within the physical conference space, to be honest, especially if the conference is huge or small. I mean, it really depends. This is coming from my own personal experience that there are some conferences and workshops that are live tweeted or tweeted a little bit about that, hey, I'm attending this keynote talk about all of that. So just those little things, and yes, they are not little. It seems like little, but it is a lot of work to take a picture, write that tweet while focusing on the talk that you're attending or on the session. So it requires a lot of multitasking as well. So what might help you is to create an Excel sheet or a Google sheet, or like just write it on a piece of paper. If Twitter is the platform you want to focus on, and you know these are the sessions I'm going to attend, then just do a background check on, or make a list of, okay, is this keynote person active? Is this speaker active on social media? Okay, what is their handle? Are they on Twitter? What is their Twitter handle? What is the handle of their affiliation? So this also helps. So make sure that you're tagging and you're sharing your insights as well if you have any. You don't always have to share your insights, but it helps to share your insights because that shows people, that improves your visibility when someone else is looking at your tweet and being like, oh, actually this person knows what they're talking about. That is cool. So be active on social media. Fifth one is ask thoughtful questions. So this is, of course, I mean, it depends, right? It depends on case by case basis, and it can vary. But during the presentations or panel discussions, ask insightful questions that demonstrate your knowledge and interest. This not only helps you gain deeper understanding, but also creates opportunities for networking and engaging in meaningful discussions. So this is something that I have experienced myself as well. So there was a huge conference that I attended while I was doing my PhD. It was, I think, halfway through my PhD, and there was a keynote talk with like 1,000 people in the audience. So it was like a very big room, and oftentimes with the keynote talks, people are very scared or shy of asking questions in the Q&A section. So after the talk, because the talk was really interesting for me and I was really impressed by it, and I had tried to do similar experiment that they presented to be done successfully in their lab. So I was actually literally curious. So me being a PhD student in her second year, I raised my hand and asked the question, and afterwards people came to me and were like, that was really brave of you to ask that question, because also my question was more like, hey, thank you for presenting. I've tried to do something similar in my lab, but I wasn't able to get the results that you just showed. So could you just tell me what exactly did you do? And this is probably not now in hindsight, maybe this is not the question that you're supposed to ask, but honestly, I would still, if I were to go back in time, or if I were to attend that talk and be in that situation again today, right now, I would do the same thing, because, well, I need an answer. This is what the conference is all about. It is about discussions, gathering information, sharing knowledge, exchanging ideas, and brainstorming ideas. And this definitely helps in networking and engaging in meaningful discussions. So, for example, you can ask an insightful question that you have, and then, of course, because the Q&A time is usually like 10 minutes or 15 minutes, not longer than that. That is like the maximum in my experience. So it helps to, right after that session ends, go to that speaker if you're interested. Go to that speaker in the coffee break or a lunch break or a social event and being like, hey, remember I asked that question. Can we talk about this a little bit? So this gives you a point. This gives you a conversation starter when you don't know what to talk to that person about. So definitely ask thoughtful questions. This is very, very important, and I have experienced it, and it did wonders for me. This is definitely my way of networking, even now in the corporate setting, that I ask questions in the meetings. Of course, when I have questions, I don't just make up questions, and then I do a follow-up for the interesting folks. So yeah, definitely ask thoughtful questions. The sixth one is take notes and collect materials. So bring a notebook or use a note-taking app or whatever you like to jot down your key points, ideas, and contacts. Collect handouts, business cards, or digital materials for presenters. These will serve as valuable reference when you follow up after the conference. So this taking notes and collecting materials, it might depend. It all comes back to what is your goal, what is your plan, what is your strategy, why do you want to attend this conference. If you want to attend this conference because you want to leave academia, if you want to leave research and go into industry, then collect the business cards or collect the handouts accordingly. So this is very, very important, and you should definitely do it. This also helps you, like taking notes, of course, I mean, it's a no-brainer, but it definitely helps you with writing down the keywords or the key points from the sessions that you're attending, be it a poster session or a speaking session or a panel discussion. And then you can write later on after the conference or even during the conference, like, hey, XYZ, I attended your panel discussion and I found your opinion quite interesting. Can we talk more about it? Or this experiment was really interesting. So definitely take notes and collect material, because this gives you, again, a talking point or a reason to reach out to that person, a reason to speak with that person. So definitely take notes and collect materials. And sometimes they are really good giveaways, like at big conferences, these big companies, usually the exhibitors, they come with a lot of giveaways, and they are quite fun and they are quite useful. I have a bunch of those which I still use, and a lot of them I've thrown away, of course, because I wasn't mindful of what I was collecting. But yeah, very interesting and very useful giveaway materials that companies give out. Okay, so that was the sixth one. So we are about 66.67% through the list that ChatGPT came up with. The seventh one is present your work effectively. This is very, very important. If you're presenting your research, prepare a clear and engaging presentation. And we will do another episode or another session on how to create the most engaging and a clear presentation if you have a speaking slot, and what else to do about it. Like basically practice your talk to ensure you stay within the allocated time. It's very important to stay in the time, trust me on this. As someone who has moderated and has spoken at different conferences and attended a bunch of conferences, like a lot of conferences, trust me, it's very important to sticking in time. It's very important to stick to the time limit, because otherwise the audiences are just like, yeah, they will remember you as a person who did not stick to the time, and that is not something to be remembered as. And effectively communicate your findings, right? This, of course, we will cover in a later episode in creating a clear and engaging presentation. And very important is also be open to feedback and questions from the audience. Whatever questions come your way, even if they are being phrased in a rude way, or if you think it's more of a comment than question, that's fine. You are in charge in that room while you're talking, or you are in charge at the poster session in front of your poster when these questions are being asked at you or this feedback is given to you. So you are the one, remember this, you have the responsibility to keep the atmosphere good in the room or in front of your poster. So be mindful of that. Don't react. Don't have a knee-jerk. Try not to have a knee-jerk reaction. Of course, if someone is giving you feedback along the lines of, hey, your work is shit, which can happen and might happen, and it has happened to me. And this was during my bachelor time, and I was like, hey, why would you say that? How dare you say that? Oh my God, I spent my one entire year coming up with this or doing this experiment, and how dare you? So try not to take the feedback personally. Try to keep it professional, even if you feel like it is being directed at you personally. So present your work effectively and also be open to feedback. This is very, very important. The eighth tip that I can give you is a follow-up. So attending a conference is great. We also talked about what to do before the conference, what to do during the conference. And now we are going to talk about the last 2 points are about what to do after the conference. So after the conference, reach out to the people you connected with. Send personalized emails. So this is where your notes come in handy. Yeah, personalized emails to express your appreciation for the conversation or their talk, and express your interest in collaboration or even further discussion, right? I mean, that is also possible. Not everything has to end up in a collaboration, or not everything has to end up in writing a funding proposal together. And maintain the connections you have made and nurture those professional relationships. A tip I can give you already here is that do not ask for anything in return in your first 3 interactions. Do not ask for anything in return. Please don't, because you need to establish and nurture that equation that you have built and keep working on it. Yeah, these are like long-term things or mid-term things. You won't get anything, or don't expect anything as a short-term return. I mean, of course, that can happen. You never know. But try not to ask for anything, at least in the first 3 interactions. after the conference that you have with this person. Instead, try to give them something of interest. Try to give them some thought-provoking ideas or anything, and be nice. Yeah, this is like a basic thing, but definitely follow up after the conference. If you want to get the most out of the conference that you have attended, make sure that you follow up and maintain those professional relationships. This is very, very important for you, not just in short term but also long term. Trust me on this does wonders to your professional relationships. The ninth and the last tip I can give you is to reflect and implement. So basically, take some time to reflect on what you have learned and experienced at the conference. Identify actionable items or ideas you want to implement in your own research or career, and apply the knowledge gained to enhance your work and stay up to date with the latest development. So this definitely depends on what goals you have set for yourself. What is your reason for attending that conference? If it is just to have fun, that's fine as well. I have attended conferences just to have fun as well, and I have attended conferences to generate leads for my business. I have attended conferences to grow awareness for my business or for my product back in the day, or for my research. I have done that. I have also attended conferences literally for the sake of having fun. So reflect on that. Reflect on the goals that you set for yourself prior to attending the conference, and make sure that you have you have action items basically to implement, and do a check next to your goal that, oh, my goal was to have fun. Okay, check. My goal was to take a lot of pictures with these celebrity scientists. Check. It's done. They are all out on social media, for example. Of course, I'm making this up, and this could also be about your research or improving your research career. So make sure you do that. So just to summarize, make sure that you are prepared before the conference. Make sure that you have a plan for the conference. During the conference, make sure you have that. Make sure you are networking and you're nurturing the network at the conference, and then also after the conference. And so basically, it's like you can break this down in 3 parts. Like before the conference, what you have to do; during the conference, what you have to do; and after the conference, what you have to do. This is a short way of getting the most out of conferences. Of course, this is high level. These 9 points I told you, they're all high level. However, if you would like me to go into details of any of these points, do let me know. Trust me, I have a lot of experience attending conferences, different kinds of conferences, digital festivals, and all that jazz. So if you would like me to go into any of the specifics, I'm happy to do an episode for the specific topic that you have in mind. Until then, thank you very much for listening and staying till the end. Please make sure that you take the survey at the end of this, or which is part of this episode if you're listening on Spotify. Make sure that you are sharing this episode with your networks, and please leave a review, interact, engage with the podcast. This is very important, and this helps us reach wider and wider audiences. So your support means a lot to me, for sure, because this is my side hustle at the moment. So with that, thank you very much again for listening to this episode on cracking the conference code. I hope it was useful for you, and see you in the next episode. Thank you. Bye.